For the first time in this election campaign, and maybe for the first time in any election campaign, a political ad is being run, but deliberately it is being run only after 10 p.m. because the people who made the ad are concerned that it will scare children if kids see it. The ad was made purely from the video of a nauseating incident, which I'm sure you have heard by now, happened before Monday's Senate debate in Kentucky. Lauren Valley, a MoveOn.org activist, suffered a concussion when she was pulled to the ground and stomped on by supporters of Republican Senate candidate Rand Paul. Now, the Rand Paul campaign condemned the incident, immediately cut ties with Tim Proffitt, who's the Rand Paul county coordinator for the campaign. He admitted to stomping on Ms. Valley. The Rand Paul campaign also said that they would return about $2,000 of campaign donations from Mr. Proffitt. Yesterday, the Paul campaign, though, changed its mind and said they decided to keep his donations. That apparently was the last straw for the Kentucky Democratic Party. Even if you have seen the original footage that we just showed you, I personally understand the Democratic Party's 10 p.m. decision thing. It is one thing to see the original footage that this is based on. It is quite another to see it repeated again and again and again. But they do it to make a very blunt point. As you saw, the ad refers to the, quote, Rand Paul stomp as a metaphor for the candidate's position, saying that Rand Paul will end student loans, he will end mine safety laws, he will end breast cancer research, he will end protections for the disabled, he will dump the Civil Rights Act, he will institute a $2,000 Medicare deductible, he will want people to pay a 23% sales tax on everything. The ad concludes by saying that Rand Paul is, quote, stomping on you, stomping on Kentucky. If you want to see the full minute-long ad for yourself, we have posted it on our blog, Maddowblog at msnbc.com. I actually do not recommend it for young audiences. Joining us now for the interview is a man who is no stranger to political messages and the power of the visual image, filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, it's really good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
It's good to see you.
Do you agree with the Kentucky Democrats turning this brutal incident outside that campaign event into a broader metaphor for what's going on in politics?
Well, yes. I mean, I think it is. It's definitely. It's not one of those figurative metaphors. It's a literal one. I mean, that wasn't just some schmo out there. That was the county chair, as you said, of one of his part of his campaign doing this. I think it's good for people to see. I agree. The repeating of it, and especially putting it in an advertisement. It was a little, it's like you were wishing Don Draper could just maybe step in and tinker with this a little bit.
It's upsetting. I have a low tolerance for violence anyway, but it's upsetting.
They never would have made an ad of somebody kicking a dog over and over. If it's a woman, you know, I mean, it's you know, that's the sad part of it, right? I mean, and it's the level of that, the image, but set that aside. I mean, this is a video operation in Kentucky making ads, and the larger point, and it's so good to see Democrats just coming out and saying just exactly what's going on here, which is if you want to get a little taste of what is ahead after Tuesday, if they win, here you go.
The implicit message being, yeah, this is hard to see, and this is going to be hard to take.
Right. It's going to be, and it's going to be far worse than what happened to her. And it was interesting. She was there performing a work of satire. I mean, she was there as part of a pretend group called the Republic Corps Party, the merging of the Republicans in corporate America, supporting. She was there holding a pro-Rand Paul sign. But clearly they didn't get the joke.
No, no, they did not. Well, you know, the man who admits to doing this has said now that he wants an apology from the woman he admits to assaulting. Some conservatives have been attacking the victim in this case, saying she essentially deserved it because of that activism, because she was there to try to get a picture with Rand Paul with this sign that she had. Because of the partisan climate right now, as people take the side of the guy who stomped on this woman, is that mainstreaming violence?
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. But we've been mainstreaming violence for the last 9 years. We're involved in these 2 wars where we still keep losing kids every day of the week over there. We're a violent country. I mean, last month, there were big stories here about the stoning of the woman in Iran. I think the statistic is there's a woman killed in this country once every 75 minutes, usually by a boyfriend, husband, ex-boyfriend, somebody she knows. we're violent people. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is something that's always been very bothersome to me. I made Bowling for Columbine. I'm trying to figure out why is it, because countries like Canada have more guns in their home actually per capita than we do. And yet they only kill 100 or 200 of each other every year, and we killed thousands.
And we end up having this debate about what goes too far, and what's an inappropriate metaphor, and what's appropriate hyperbole in our political language. Whether or not, I guess, by mainstreaming violence, specifically what we're considering is whether or not it's okay to leave politics behind and instead settle our political differences by violence. That's why I think the Sharon Engel Second Amendment remedies thing isn't just one of the kooky things among many that she said.
But they talk this way all the time. Specific. I mean, I'm sure you've been a victim of this. I mean, on the internet, where they talk about you, it wasn't lost upon a lot of people, if I may say this, that there were a number of people protesting there at that Kentucky event. They went after a certain person and threw her to the ground. Why her? When I was growing up, it was like grab the hippie.
Yeah.
If you were down south, it was grab the black guy. This young girl, what that represents, I think they're afraid of this younger generation, because the young kids, they're not the bigots that their parents and grandparents were. They don't have this homophobic thing that just seems to, occupy the brains of older people in some weird way. So I think that, I have some hope. I mean, I think I'm hoping that young people, will be able to sort of rise up and fix this. That I know it's. Listen, Glenn Beck on the air called. I don't even want to repeat it.
Yeah. When he fantasized about killing you, fantasized about doing violence to you. It's unbelievable.
That is correct. And as did Bill O'Reilly one night. He said he didn't believe in the death penalty except for Michael Moore. Bill O'Reilly said that the night after the Janet Jackson incident at the Super Bowl. CBS was fined, I don't know, $500,000, $1 million, I can't remember what the amount was. Next day, Bill O'Reilly essentially calls for violence to happen to me, and nothing. The FCC, nothing. You can say that now on TV, and you can become successful preaching violence and preaching hate. We're going to enter a very scary time, and I would say this to anybody who's listening. Listen, I've said this on your show, you've said it, we've all have our concerns about the Democrats. They haven't done the job they were sent there to do, but boy, I'll tell you, if we don't get on the phones and call people, everybody should get out their address book and just send a reminder to everybody to be sure and vote on Tuesday. I'm still hanging on to this belief that when people go in that booth, they're going to be mad at Obama. They're going to be mad at the Democrats. Things haven't changed. People still aren't working. They've been out of work for 2 years. Their house is getting foreclosed. But when they're in that booth and the curtain closes and they look at that Republican name, I think a lot of people are just going to go, yeah, I remember what those 8 years were like.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna grit, and I'm gonna vote. I'll give the Democrats 2 more years.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's what I would really ask your relatives who are on the fence or whatever, friends of yours, just say, look, 2 years isn't enough time for the huge mess that was created. Let's give them 2 more years. Then we can deal with it if they haven't, done the job they were sent there to do.
Michael Moore, it is always such a pleasure to have you here. I really enjoy talking to you. I really enjoy you being here.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks you for everything you do.